This is video number 5 of our 7-part hauler help series. I'm Charlie Dolan, the CEO of DSQ Technology, and we're the company that makes waste manageable. For a quick recap, in a previous video we uncovered how to insert your company details. We went through adding facilities to hauler, how to invite your coworkers, and add dumpsters so that you can track your inventory. If you're new to hauler, for the roll-off software platform, I recommend you watch those foundational videos first. They'll get you set up for what we're going to be doing for pricing today. Today I'm going to show you how to add pricing into hauler, which you can then use for all of the different jobs that you have with your customers. And just as a note, this tutorial covers some of the basics of it. If you're looking for some of the more advanced features, we're going to cover those in a later video. This is going to cover setting pricing for deliveries, swaps, removals, variables, things like the number of tons that are allowed in a haul, or the number of days that are allowed out of a standard rental. So let's get started with this. So as you can see here in the application, I'm in the admin page. You do need administrative rights to be able to do this, and we've got a little fake company set up here to work on that. I'm going to head over to the pricing page, which is across the top, and then I can see I have size dependent pricing, so make sure you're selected onto that. And then in these drop downs, I can see my base pricing, and that base pricing is going to be used as the default for most of the things that you'll be using throughout hauler. And now let's talk about this table. On the left, I've got the different size of containers in my fleet, in my inventory. And then on the right, I've got different columns for different types of pricing that you might need to set up. One for delivery, swaps, pickups, live loads. And those will be used, obviously depending upon the type of haul that you're doing, and will be charged once per haul. And then there's variable fees for how many tons are allowed, what's the additional tonnage amount that's allowed, how many days are included with the rental, and then what's the daily rate over the rental. Those variables will be pulled in at the end of a job so that maybe, hauler will track for you if the dumpster was on site for 18 days, that those additional 4 days in this example over the 14 will be charged a daily rate of, maybe $4 times 7 to get you to that new line item amount that needs to be charged for the rental. So when you get into this, you would want to make sure that you have amounts entered for each of these. I've already pre-filled this just for the interest of time, but you're going to want to make sure that all of these values are set according to how you want to run your own pricing structure here. And you'd want to make sure that when you reload the page and you click update, these hold. And then when you go to use these for each haul, you'll just select the base price model for each haul that you want to use that for. Hauler also has the ability to handle additional fees. And so additional fees are things that maybe you don't know about in advance, but the driver or somebody on your team will be able to enter as they're going through a different haul. And I've got some examples of these put in. The first is, maybe there's tires in the container. Usually tires are not allowed, same with other hazardous materials. And you can see that this is selected as a driver addable fee. So I'll show you how to add one of these. This will give your drivers the opportunity while they're going through their work to say, okay, this is a fee that should be added by the billing team later on in the process and invoiced out to the customer. So to do that, you click add fee. You'd give that fee a name. In this case, maybe let's say there were paint cans, and we'll add that. And maybe you want to charge a $50 per occurrence penalty for having paint cans in the container. And in this case, I would want the driver to be able to add that because they would maybe see this at the landfill or transfer station when they're dumping the container. And so I'll click save there. And so now I've added another fee when the drivers are using the mobile application or accessing the web application through their phone. They'll have the option to add this fee when it comes time. And let's maybe give one more example just for clarity on this one in here called late payment. That's not a fee that the driver is able to add, which, in that example makes sense. That might be something that the back office staff would want to add later on. And a driver, wouldn't really be privy to that information and have a reason to add that when it comes time. So again, covering here the ability to add size dependent pricing under a base pricing model, setting that up and running through that, and then finally adding additional fees in here as well. The last thing I'd like to cover is the ability to do basically testing your different fees. So if you want to make sure that all the data that you put into that table makes sense, you could maybe run some examples. So I could set a fictitious haul here and test out what the pricing will look like. So I'm going to set a delivery of a 20 yard. I'm going to put in our main office address here. and I'll say that it was 5.2 tons and it was on site for 28 days. And I'll hit the calculate button here, and this is going to run through the pricing model that I just set up, and it's going to try and articulate what the customer would be charged when I press calculate. So I'll press that here. I can see that drew in the base price for a delivery of $380. I have entered in here an adjustment for things inside the city of Pittsburgh of an additional $20. And so it pulled that in, and we'll cover how to add that again in a later video. And then I've gone over the weight that was included in the container. And so it's charging an additional 1.2 tons at $45, and then an additional time of 14 days at $7 a day for an additional $98, and comes to a total there of $552. And so really useful testing mechanism here to make sure that the pricing that you've entered is doing what you expect. And you can sit here and change these variables too. Maybe if it was a 30 yard, I could hit recalculate, and that'll run through and pull in different base pricing numbers here for you. So a really helpful way to spot check the data that you did enter and make sure that it's doing what you intend before having your team go deploy this in the real world. So that's how you add pricing, which is a really simple and powerful tool to help you with your roll-off business. In our next video in the Hauler Help series, we're going to get into the details of messaging through the platform. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, make your way back here when you need answers, and be alerted to upcoming videos as they become available. And thanks for choosing Hauler.